Here's your superficial layer of the back. Here's your trapezius. It's a diamond shaped. It's got three different divisions. Here's your lower. Some books call it ascending. Here's your middle, and here's your upper trap or descending. I like upper trapezius. You can tell it's upper, not just because where it's located, but the fibers run upward that way. So that's upper trap. It's going to shrug your shoulder. It's going to help upwardly rotate your scapula. Here's your middle trapezius. They run horizontally. So they're going to help adduct your scapula. And here is your lower. So it is going to uh, upwardly rotate your scapula, also depress your scapula. So let's hide that. And they are cranial nerve innervated. Cranial nerve 11, spinal accessory nerve innervates these, not brachial plexus. So let's get rid of crap. Oh, I forgot to mention your lats. Big, strong, broad muscle, very broad muscle. Starts in your lower back in this thoracodorsifascia here. Comes and then it goes all the way to the intertrabecular groove of the humerus at the anterior shoulder through the armpit region. Very strong shoulder extensor, adductor, and internal rotator. Thoracodorsal innervated C6 to C8, which is part of the brachial plexus. There from the posterior cord of the brachial plexus. Let's get rid of thoracodorsifascia. Yep. Intermediate. Well, I still have some more superficial layers right here. These three right here are all three innervated by dorsal scapular nerve. Levator scapulae, rhomboid minor, rhomboid major. All three dorsal scapular nerve. Lots of C4, lots of C5, and they are from the brachial plexus. They all three will downwardly rotate the scapula, and the two rhomboids will adduct as well. Let's hide those for now. Even the levator scap on its way up to the transverse process of C1 through 4. Here we have the intermediate layer. They are serrated in shape, and they're on the posterior. So serrated posterior superior, serrated posterior inferior. We can hide those. Not sure if I mentioned it before, but here's supraspinatus, infraspinatus. We can see teres major now, right there. And the little piece of minor we can see. What's covering him a lot is this deltoid. Three parts, middle deltoid, posterior, and anterior. Anterior will flex the shoulder. Middle will abduct. And of course, if this is posterior is on the backside, it will help extend. We can see the pec major, strong broad muscle. It has the sternal costal section, and then this little one up here, the clavicular section. These are strong humeral adductors as well as horizontal adductors. Going back to the abdominals, you can see your rectus abdominis vertically oriented, your six pack here. And then you will see this angled muscle here, superficial, is external oblique. We can hide that for now. Hide that one for now. I already mentioned him. Oh, this is internal oblique. So I see them running more this direction. This looks almost horizontal. So we can get rid of pec as well, because I got to show you the one under it. Let's get rid of platysma. Doesn't really do much. He's cranial nerve innervated too, but number 7. Let's look at SCM. Perhaps one of my favorite top 3 muscles of the body. SCM, he's cranial nerve 11, along with trapezius innervated. This left one will rotate your head to the right. It will also side bend this way to the left. So side bend left, rotate right for this one. And then we can see the minor, pectoralis minor, right there, going from the ribs 3, 4, 5 up to the coracoid process. Let's get rid of that deltoid. Uh-huh. Now we can see the anterior forearm, the flexor compartment. You can see your biceps. Short head going to the coracoid process. 3 tendons attached there. Short head of bicep, pec minor, talked about it, and soon to see coracobrachialis attached to the coracoid process. There he is right there. Kind of short from the coracoid to halfway down the humerus. He helps flex and he helps adduct, stronger adductor of the humerus. All three of those are innervated by the musculocutaneous nerve, which is from the lateral cord of the brachial plexus. Here is the brachialis, which was under the bicep, strong elbow flexor, on its way to the ulnar tuberosity, musculocutaneous nerve, lots of C5, lots of C6. I have not mentioned this muscle yet. He is the top or the most lateral, most superficial one of the outer forearm, outer elbow, which is the brachioradialis. You can see him a little bit there. There he is right there. He does a lot of things, not very strongly, but he helps out with elbow flexion. He also helps out with supination and pronation if you're starting from an already in range position. That's brachioradialis. And he's radial nerve. Even though he's looks like he's a little bit on the palmar side or ventral side, he is radial nerve innervated. Speaking of radial nerve innervated, we can see, let's see if I remember how to highlight again or how to enlarge. Did I talk about these yet? Extensor digitorum, because it goes to the extensors. I see this going and changing directions since they're pollicis longus. I see these two underneath go into second and third, so I know those are the tennis elbow ones. ECRL, ECRB. Mm-hmm. I see two of the outcropping, apple peanut butter and extra peanut butter. Yeah, we're running out of muscles. And then I see this one go into the index, so that's indices. I see this go into the base of the fifth, so it's ECU. I see this going to the end of the pinky, so that's going to drink hot tea with the queen. Extensor digiti minimi, the only member of the fifth dorsal compartment, whereas ECU is the only member of the sixth dorsal compartment. I hope I talked about supinator right there. He's a little bit deep. That's your supinator. And all he does is supinate. Here's your anconeus. He's kind of an extension of the tricep. And speaking of extension, he helps with extension. He also abducts that ulna when you're rotating the forearm. It's supposed to help. And here we can see your dabs. Yeah. Your dorsal interossei, which abduct. Get rid of those, and you got that's your adductor, but you'll see your palmar, your pads, which are better view from the other side, though. I have to show you one of my all-time favorites, serratus anterior, right here, ribs 1 through 9. Some books, some people are 1 through 8, but that's serratus anterior. Long thoracic, C5 through C7. Some books say to C8. But there you go. And it upperly rotates the scapula along with upper trap and lower trap. And when do you upperly rotate your scapula? When you're raising your arm, especially when you're raising up above 90 degrees. You need a lot of upward rotation. When that muscle's gone like that, you have a lot of scapular winging on the backside here. All right, that's the muscle. There's the muscle. Let's see if I can get rid of that and then show a little bit of nerves. Let's see what shows up with the nerves. All right, let's look at this view. I haven't played with this app yet. I know the brachial, oh, that's pretty neat. That thing's moving. I know the brachial plexus starts from C5 and then it goes to T1. C5 to T1 nerve roots from here. They come together. Some of them come together and they form the trunks. Then those divide, the divisions. Then they form the cords. And then we get to about right here, the cords will have already changed into their terminal branches, the 5 terminal branches. Now, I know this guy. I know this guy because he is in the middle. If we look at our M, we can see our M right there. He is in the middle, the median. So that's median. Now you come lateral here, and it just makes a little appearance laterally. That's your radial nerve. Oh, there we go. There's your radial nerve. And for the most part, it's on the back side. You see it representing it posteriorly along the radial groove here. Yeah, that's radial nerve. And he is in the triangular interval. That's where he exits here. If the if the teres major was right here, you would see the triangular interval. And he's from the posterior cord of the brachial plexus. Musculocutaneous, musculocutaneous. Okay. All right, this is a little tricky. Here we go. Musculocutaneous motor branch. Yep, going to the BBC, the biceps, the brachialis, and the coracobrachialis. And then ulnar, to really appreciate ulnar nerve, you have to find the funny bone right there. And that has to be ulnar nerve. Ulnar nerve from the medial cord of the brachial plexus, C8 T1. And as it runs down, it's going to innervate, as we talked about. It's going to innervate the flexor carpi ulnaris. It's going to innervate the 2 medial profundi muscles. And then once it gets to the hand, it really starts to innervate all the hypothenar muscles, the flexor, abductor, and opponents of the hypothenar, the pad and dabs, the palmar and dorsal interossei. It innervates all of them. And the adductor pollicis, it innervates that muscle. And it innervates the 2 lumbricals on the ulnar side. So that's a lot of innervation by the ulnar nerve. Here it's right through Guyon's canal, right here between the pisiform and the hook of the hamate. Look at that hook at the hamate right there. Pisiform is right here. It goes right in between and it can get compressed there.